Hello and welcome to Golden Orb Studios. Today I'll be showing you the documentation for the stylized landscape. So you can see here we got lots of trees and mountains, and there's a nice stylized texture. And if I zoom in here, there's some nice grass. It also comes with a little stylized character with some animations so you can walk around the scene. And the grass is based off the texture on the ground. So there's going to be some color variation, and also you can see there's some nice wind, and it looks stylized and light and fluffy. And up on the mountains there's snow, and there's also the same pine trees, just with the snow texture. So as you can see, it looks very nice. There's a bunch of snowy trees, and the ground's snowy, and there's also some cliffs. Right now I'm on top of the mountain, and this landscape is in the pack as well. So if you've already downloaded it, you've probably already explored it, seen what type of stuff there is. There's lots of different types of flowers, more than what I'm showing here. Lots of different colors, lots of different types. And there's even a stylized fire that I made. And there's also ferns, lots of different trees, bushes. Now if you want to set this up in a new level, some of you may have already tried to, everything just turns black. Or if you start in if you migrated everything to the project that you're working on, everything is still black even if you followed all the documentation. And I'm here to show you how to fix that and to make it look good like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new level. So I'm going to come up here, File, New Level. I'm just going to do the basic, and I'm going to show you this way, and then I'm also going to create a whole new project and then migrate everything to that project, just to show you how to do that, because there is an extra step to doing that, because this uses virtual runtime textures. So now that I have this set up, I'm just going to delete this and go to landscape, and I'm just going to create a basic landscape. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to content and then go to landscape, and then I want to go to right here, the MI landscape instance. So I'm going to go back to selection, click on the landscape, and then come over here to landscape material, and then I'll just take this, drag it over here, and then you'll see it's black. That doesn't look very good. And then I'm going to click on that, and then go to landscape, go to paint, and then I'm just going to pull this out, and I'm going to click on the grass first, and then click on that, and now you can see that it's green. However, the grass is still not working because we don't have the virtual runtime set up yet. And then I'm just going to do the rest for these: sand, the empty grass, the dirt, the cliff, and then the snow. So just like that. And then the next thing I want to do is go back to selection, and in here I want to type in runtime virtual texture volume, and I'm just going to drag that in. And with that selected, what I want to do is click on the picker and then select the landscape. Next, in the virtual texture, you want to click on that and then click set bounds. Next, I want to click on the landscape and then type in virtual texture, so just right here, and you want to click this add element and then click the runtime texture. And now you can see that it's working really good. However, if you did it when it was flat and then you go to landscape and you start sculpting, you'll see that everything above the flat line will be black. So you can see when I click on the virtual runtime texture, when we set to bounds, it was only set to the flat. So this is above it, so then we have to go back here and set the bounds again. So anytime you make it go higher and then it turns black, you're going to have to click on the runtime texture and then make it bigger. You can also just come over to scale and I want to change it to like 5,000, and that works too. So now I can keep going up past this point and it won't be black. However, once I get up above the virtual runtime texture, then I'll need to resize it again. Or if I go below it, the same thing. So you can see that's looking pretty good. There's some nice wind patterns in there, some nice color variation, very nice light fluffy grass. And next, if I click on the landscape, go to foliage and scroll down, there's nothing here. So I'm going to go to content, go to landscape, and I'm going to get the trees and bushes first. So I'm going to get the bushes, and then I'm going to get all of the trees. There's pine trees, and then some duplicates with the snow texture, and then some regular trees. And I'm going to drag this out just to show you how you can customize this. So right now it's just solid white, but if you click on it, you can go to the snow pine leaves and click the arrow, and that's also just in the materials. So you can click on that, drag it over here, and over here on the gradient amount, if I turn that up, you can see that it starts to turn green. So you can make the tips more white, or you can make it all white, or you can add some green in there. And if you click on the color top brightness, you can lower that to make it less intense. So that'll give it more of a harsher or more gradual line. I'm just going to keep it all the way white for now. So then I'm going to delete that, click on landscape, go back to foliage, and I'm going to click everything and then click the arrow, and I'm just going to add some trees right now. And right now you can see that's way too dense. So I'm actually just going to select everything and then scroll down, and you're going to want to change the density to a 1. And then you also want to scroll down here, and you want to change the cold distance. I'm going to change that to 100,000. And so if I zoom out, you can see that now it's disappearing. And you can make this number bigger or smaller, just depending on how much memory you want to save. I might actually lower it down to 70,000. It's not disappear sooner. I'm also going to erase this, and then I'm going to click the checkbox, just select the trees, and maybe the bushes as well, and a couple of these ones. And then I can click paint, start painting, and you can also change the density from right here. So now you can see that it looks pretty good. We have a nice landscape with trees. Now if you want to add some snow or dirt or like a path or something, you can come up here, go landscape, paint, and then I'm gonna add some dirt, and with paintbrush selected, I'm gonna change the brush size to be a little smaller. I'm gonna keep the tool strength to about the same, and now I can paint a path. So now you can see there's a nice little path. I can also, if I wanted to make a river or something, or a beach, you can add some sand. Or if you want just an empty grass plane, you can select grass 02. And now you can see there's no grass right here. It has the same texture, but there's no grass. And you can also paint some cliffs. It manually creates cliffs on its own, as you can see, but you can also touch it up as well, like that. And you can also make some snow. So since this is up higher, I might just paint the top of this, and add some snow. So just like that, and then I can go back to foliage, and then I can do erase. I'm gonna make that a little smaller, so I can erase those ones, and then I can paint. I'm gonna unselect all of these, and then get some pine trees. So now you can paint some white pine trees on there. And then if you want to get the character in here, just make sure you go to World Settings, Game Mode, and then Third Person Game Mode. And then make sure there's a player start. There's already one in there. So I'm going to click play. It's below the scene, so I'm going to click on that, click F, and then drag that above the ground. And then if I click play, you can see that I'm in the scene. I can press shift to run, and I can look around at all the stuff. Next I'm going to show you how to migrate all of this stuff into your project if you've already created one and you just want to add this to your project, because there's an extra step from what we did besides adding the virtual runtime texture. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm in the Unreal Project browser. I'm just going to create a new one. I'm going to go to Games, Third Person. I'm going to call this Landscape Test 1, and I'm just going to click Create. Alright, so once you open up your other project, I'm going to go to File, and then, or actually we want to go to Edit, and then Project Settings, and then up top we want to type in Virtual Texture, and you'll come down here to virtual textures and enable virtual texture support. I want to click on that, and I'm doing this first because we're gonna have to restart, and if we migrate all the stuff later, it'll take a little longer. Alright, so once that's done, it'll prepare all the shaders, and then I'm gonna go back to the other project and then save everything, and then you want to go all the way out to the content, so I want the content folder, and I'm going to right click on that, and I want to migrate, and that'll find all of the references, so that's good. I'm going to click OK, and then I want to backspace out of that, and that'll take me to my Unreal Engine folder, or you can also just find it in here. And here's the one I just created, Landscape Test 1, and it has to be in the content folder. It can't go in any of these others, otherwise you'll get a warning saying it won't work. It has to be in the content folder, so select folder, and it's asking me about the jump input. I'm just going to click yes, all that stuff. I'm just going to overwrite it. I'm just going to click apply to all. And that's just for the third person stuff. And it's quite a bit of stuff, so it's going to take a minute to load. Alright, so when that's done, I'm going to head over back to here. And you can see that it just replaced everything. And I'm just going to come up to File. Let's say this is the file you want to add the landscape to. So I'm just going to delete these walls. And then I'm going to come up to Landscape, and then just click Create New, and then just sculpt around that. And then I'm going to come up to Place Actors, get the Runtime Virtual Texture Volume, and then come down here to the picker, and sometimes it creates the landscape like this, so you just want to click the main one up here. So I'll type in landscape, and then I'll choose everything. And then the virtual texture, I'll select that, set bounds, and then in the landscape, I'm going to type in virtual, click the add, and click the texture, and that's all you need to do for that. Next, I'm going to click on the landscape, and go landscape in my landscape instance, and drag that into the landscape material, so then that'll load up everything like that. And then we just do the same thing. We go to landscape, paint, and then in the none, you just want to click on all of these and just select the corresponding ones, cliff, and then snow. And I click the sand first, so now you can see it's very sandy. If you wanted the grass first, then you can right click on the sand, clear layer, and then on the grass, right click and fill layer. So once that loads up, we have the grass. However, you can't see any grass, and sometimes you just need to paint on some of the layers, and you can see that I'm just slightly sculpting, and then it brings it in, and you can see it's like rendering in chunks. Sometimes you need to just paint, and that'll bring it back. That's not the case. You can sculpt, and then that's just bringing it back. Not entirely sure why it does that, but that's just one fix to do it. You can also just restart the level, and then it'll show back up. If it doesn't do that though, then you can do this to bring back all of these spots. Alright, so there we go. That's all back, and you can see that it's still black. So I'm just going to double check. I'm going to get the runtime texture, make sure that this is all set up right. I'm going to click set bounds, and that did it. So the bounds just must not have been set correctly, or I just forgot to push the button. So now you can see it's working. And I can go to the world settings with the BP third person game mode. And then with the foliage, same thing. Just go to landscape and trees and bushes. Just drag all that into there. And it might ask you to save the location of some of them, because it needs to create a asset for them. So you'll just need to do that for all of them, and then you can start painting the foliage wherever you want. So this is the stylized landscape pack. It has lots of different trees, pine, regular trees, bushes, flowers, grass, also has some dead grass, and it's an auto material, so it automatically makes cliffs at a certain angle, and the grass is light and fluffy, has lots of color variation, has a nice wind texture that blows across it, and all of the leaves also move, and when you get close to it, they kind of dissolve. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you can create some cool games with this. There is a written documentation down below. It's a Google Docs. I'll leave the link below in the description. If you like affordable stylized packs like this, then you may want to check out my low poly MiddleEast. It has tons of building assets, cars, all that sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool. So go ahead and check that out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.